And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China!
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China! All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China!
Russian.
Russia!
Italian.
Italy!
German.
Germany!
Swedish.
Sweden!
Korean.
Korea!
Egyptian.
Egypt!
Nigerian.
Nigeria!
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
While the vaccines provide strong protection for the vaccinated, we read about and hear about and we see the stories of hospitalized people on their deathbeds among the unvaccinated over the past few weeks.
We are learning more about a woman in the North Bay who was fully vaccinated, got COVID, and then died.
Her friends say she was a talented painter, singer, and businesswoman. They also believe that she and other vaccinated people got infected during a performance at a Sausalito bar.
One person has contracted COVID and died after being fully vaccinated. Now, before you get overly concerned, Judge Clay Jenkins says this person was an organ transplant recipient. But he reminds us that anyone who is immunocompromised is still vulnerable to the virus even after getting vaccinated.
In Barnstable, Massachusetts, the CDC tracked an outbreak of 469 cases of COVID. 74% occurred in fully vaccinated, and 4 out of 5 of those hospitalized were vaccinated.
This is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. 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 And it's caused by the fact that despite America having unprecedented and successful vaccination program, despite the fact that for almost 5 months, free vaccines have been available in 80,000 different locations, we still have nearly 80 million Americans who have failed to get the shot.
As a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant, followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant, are African Americans.
And to make matters worse, there are elected officials actively working to undermine the fight against COVID-19. Instead of encouraging people to get vaccinated and mask up, they're ordering mobile morgues for the unvaccinated dying from COVID in their communities. This is totally unacceptable.
As a PhD who knows the science, I'm in the category of the most vaccine hesitant group. Yes, PhDs are the most vaccine hesitant.
Third, if you wonder how all this adds up, here's the math. The vast majority of Americans are doing the right thing. Nearly 3/4 of the eligible have gotten at least one shot. but 1/4 has not gotten any.
The other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them.
That's nearly 80 million Americans not vaccinated. And a country as large as ours, that's 25% minority. That 25% can cause a lot of damage, and they are. The unvaccinated overcrowd our hospitals, are overrunning emergency rooms and intensive care units, leaving no room for someone with a heart attack or pancreatitis or cancer.
Followed by people who have less than a high school degree because they know what they don't know and they don't trust their government. And many people, the other group that is very vaccine hesitant are African Americans. 70% of African Americans have not taken this vaccine. Why? Because they don't trust their government. Do they have reason not to trust their government? Well, between the years of 1930 and 1970, the CDC conducted the Tuskegee experiment, where they took untreated males with syphilis and they refused to treat them. Even after antibiotics became available, they still did not treat them, and they did not tell them that they had syphilis. They told those people that they were there to secure their health, and they did not secure their health. They abused them.
And fourth, I want to emphasize that the vaccines provide very strong protection from severe illness from COVID-19. I know there's a lot of confusion and misinformation, but the world's leading scientists confirm that if you are fully vaccinated, your risk of severe illness from COVID-19 is very low. In fact, based on available data from the summer, only 1 out of every 160,000 fully vaccinated Americans was hospitalized for COVID per day. These are the facts. So here's where we stand. The path ahead, even with the Delta variant, is not nearly as bad as last winter. But what makes it incredibly more frustrating is that we have the tools to combat COVID-19, and a distinct minority of Americans I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role that the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
We cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't.
No, definitely not. You don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandating from the federal government to the general population. It would be unenforceable and not appropriate.
First, we must increase vaccinations among the unvaccinated with new vaccination requirements. With nearly 80 million eligible Americans who have not gotten vaccinated, many said they were waiting for approval from the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA. Well, last month, the FDA granted that approval.
Today is really an important day as the FDA has approved the first COVID-19 vaccine. And as you heard, the vaccine has been known as the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine and will now be marketed as Comirnaty for the prevention of COVID-19 disease in individuals 16 years of age and older, 16 years of age and older, 16 years of age and older, 16 years of age and older. This is a pivotal moment for our country in the fight against the pandemic. While this and other vaccines have met the FDA's rigorous scientific standards for emergency use authorization, as the first FDA-approved COVID-19 vaccine, the public can be confident that this vaccine meets the FDA's gold standards for safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing quality that we require for an approved product. While today's approval includes people ages 16 and older, the vaccine continues to be available under emergency use authorization for individuals 12 through 15 years of age.
It's time to dance. It's time to dance. Dance, sucker.
Want to say peace and blessings, family. Hope all is well with you guys. If you can hear me clearly, this just type 1 inside the comment section. And not going to be too long before you guys, because I got some pressing things that I have to work on in terms of preparing for a meeting I have to be part of this upcoming second day of the week, which many will refer to as Monday. But I want to allow you to hear the contradictions, right? If anything, we know that YouTube is now trying to, in a nutshell, remove accounts, remove any what they perceive to be false information about the vaccines and the jabs and all that other stuff. And, you know, the information about those who are not vaccinated versus those that are vaccinated. And, you know, all of this poor information that started from the very top. So truth be told, the videos that should be removed should start right at the top. All these media outlets, their YouTube channels should be shut down. Their accounts should be blocked, because we just heard the contradictions. We just heard the commander-in-chief, along with Nancy Pelosi and even Dr. Fauci, state that it's not legal. Even Fauci said it's not right. It's not, you know, this has never been done before. So now look at what's happening right now. Look at what's taking place among us right now. Look at what's happening right now. So I want to talk a little bit about the feast days, blowing of the trumpets, so that way you guys can really understand what blowing of the trumpet means. But then I want to touch a little bit on the Day of Atonement. There's some things I really want to share with you guys, right? So again, we see and we all hear the truth of what's going on. And what's sad is, to me, what's even more disheartening is when you actually see our own brothers and sisters jumping on the bandwagon. Those that supposed to be so-called leaders among our community. You know, seeing the lynch mob going after those that are exercising their right. You know, we're a country that says freedom of speech, push this freedom of speech according to the Constitution. But now you see YouTube, Facebook, and all these different platforms now are coming together, formed a confederate to wipe out, to filter and sift videos online to remove them if they're coming against the very person that put out a mandate. And we'll deal with that mandate in a second here. We got people sharing poor information. And you guys seen some of the videos that I've been posting over the past couple of days. I got a couple more I'm going to upload. How Stephen A. Smith, and I'm going to say his name, Stephen A. Smith, who for 20 years basically built his whole career off of bashing Kwame Brown, who was the #1 draft pick, bashed him so bad that he was going on tours, college tours, bringing his name up, Kwame Brown, even after he retired. calling him a bust because of the agendas that was, the underlining agendas. The fear of more high school students, right, coming straight out of high school into the NBA and bypassing the college ranks, the NCAA, bypassing them. So the watchdogs put, they put Stephen A. Smith at the head of that. And what did he do? Even after the man was retired, called him a bust. Kwame Brown was in the league for 13 years. How can you be a bust and you in the league for 13 years? Career earnings, I want to say between $70 to $80 million. How can you be a bust? And that's not even counting the endorsements. How can you be a bust and you were in the NBA for 13 years? And Stephen A. Smith took money out of his pocket by talking about him. Then we see, now they're stirring up again. Now, instead of Kwame Brown, Stephen A. Smith and the entire lynch mob, right, joining the lynch mob. Remember the Moors, if you study history, especially when you start dealing with the transatlantic world war, the Moors were taking the colonizers, showing them where we dwell, where we live at, taking them to the communities of our brothers and sisters, our ancestors, showing them, hey, this is the best time to go and raid that community. We see the same behavior right now. We see Stephen A. Smith, right? We see, what's her name, from Joyce Reed and, Jamil Hill and, all these different people trying to now demonize the players in the NBA. You should ask yourself, how come they're not targeting the players in the NFL? Because the NFL is not 100% vaccinated. How come they're not going after the quarterback for Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins, who said that, hey, it's his right to whether or not he want to tell you publicly that he's vaccinated or not? How come they're not going after him? How come you don't see Stephen A. Smith, Jamel Hill, what's her name, Joy Reid? How come they're not going after them? How come they won't bring up the original statistics that came out a year ago, about 4 months after the media made a blitz saying that our community was getting hit the hardest, when actually our community in terms of the deaths was at 14%, but the Caucasian community, they were at 64%, followed by the Spanish community, which was at 14%, and our community at 12%. How come they're not talking about that? So we see this lynch mob, right, to demonize the vaccine. And when I say we have to be specific. The vaccine for Pfizer was approved back in August through FDA. And that's a whole nother discussion that in itself. Not all the other vaccines. See, that's what the commander-in-chief did not say, did not mention. That he did not tell you. He'll lead you to believe that all of them have been approved. This is witchcraft in terms of when we understand what the scriptures say about what witchcraft is: bending, twisting the laws. That's what iniquity means: bending, twisting the laws. You see the lynch mob stirring up. You see Stephen A. Smith doing the same thing. When you see what he said about, and I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put it up in my next set of videos I upload. What he said about Andrew Wiggins. When Andrew Wiggins made it clear, like, hey, that's my business. I don't have to tell you what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do, how I'm going to adjust. That's my money. That's my, when they were pointing out how many millions he's going to lose, he's like, hey, that's my business. That's my money. It's none of your business. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. And what did Stephen A. Smith say? What did he do? when he was talking about these athletes that he's so tired of. Oh, I'm so tired of these athletes saying that it's their personal business. Oh, they need to research. And he brought up Andrew Wiggins. He threw out there that, hey, Andrew Wiggins is the quietest number one NBA pick that he's ever heard, trying to throw shade on him. See, I pay attention to what is said. And then when you look at Kyrie Irving, how they trying to paint this picture that he's not thinking straight, like the Rolling Stones writer, they tried to bring up information saying that, hey, you know what, we've been researching Kyrie Irving. We've noticed that he's been going to these conspiracy websites and everything. And we think that that's influencing him. But it didn't stop there. What did they do? They brought more to the party. Right? Because we started off with Joy Reid and Jamel Hill, and then we see Stephen A. Smith with Keyshawn Johnson and Jason Williams, Molly Qerim. They having a good old time throwing all kinds of shade on these NBA players. But why are they so pressed on the NBA players? The reason why they're pressed on the NBA players is because, and I'll see if I could pull up those clips from a year ago. They said that the NBA players have more power than what the NFL players do. The NBA players have more power than what the NBA, the MLB. Of course, we know that they really don't have much power in the NHL because there's not many of us inside that arena, that genre of sports. But they made it clear. Because remember, during the bubble, the NBA players was about to shut down the bubble because of what was happening with what's her name? I can't think of her name. Tiana. What's her name? Down at I'm going brain dead right now. The young lady that was gunned down in her own house with her boyfriend. Breonna Taylor, rather. That's her name. Breonna Taylor. And of course, what we saw happening with Floyd and what happened with Ahmaud Arbery, seeing all these incidents, situations after situations after situations. And, the NBA players said enough is enough. We about to shut down this bubble unless the NBA and others start recognizing what's going on. So what happened? What happened? What happened? Now we see Stephen A. Smith now going after those players. They're using him as the watchdog. We got to call it what it is, family. So now Stephen A. Smith, right, because he's the golden boy, $60 million contract, 5 years, $60 million, $12 million a year. So he's the golden boy. So now here it is, Stephen A. Smith. What is he doing? Leading the cavalry, leading the lynch mob. Now, guess who joined the party? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the legend, who's calling out who? Kyrie, saying that he's not approving of what Kyrie has to say. Who are you? I don't care if you approve what I say or not. I'm entitled to my comments. I'm entitled to how I feel. That's the same thing that Stephen A. Smith had the audacity to say when he was asked the question by Kendrick Perkins, like, hey, you know what? How did they feel about LeBron James or with the comments that he made? Stephen A. Smith had the audacity to say, I don't care. It don't mean nothing to me. This is late. He should have did this last year. Man, get out of here. Who are you? I see you silent about Kirk Cousins, aren't you? I know you silent about, if you look at the statistics back in August with the Minnesota Vikings, 65% of the team were vaccinated. 65%. But how come we don't hear about that? How come we don't hear about some of the NFL players that are falsifying their report, their vaccine records? How come we don't hear about that? How come we don't hear about what Bill Belichick said, that most of the people that was getting the vaccine, getting the virus, was actually the players that was vaccinated? How come we don't hear that? So now we have this lynch mob going on for Kyrie Irving. Oh, if I was the owner, I would tell them to go. I would tell them, don't show up. I'll go to him and tell them, hey, heck with you. And guess what? The person I least expected to do it jumped right inside the lynch mob, jumped right on the bandwagon. Shaquille O'Neal. Well, my biological father didn't bother. Shaquille O'Neal, who does a lot for the community. I'm from the Brick City. He does a lot for the Brick City. He does a lot for the community. But he jumped on the bandwagon too, saying that if he was the owner, he would get rid of Kyrie, trade him, do whatever. And within the NBA, the rule of thumb is don't mess with another man's money. So now we got all of these people coming together. Is it these guys are trying to jock for a position to be able to become an NBA owner? What's the motivation behind this? So, family, I want to say this to you guys. This is where you have to know the word for yourself. This is where you have to know the laws for yourself. This is why I stated over a month ago, actually a month and a half ago, that don't get caught up with what is said with the mandates. Don't just walk away from your place of employment. No, voice your concerns. Don't just say, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No, you know what? This is my concern here. My concern is the long-term effects of this. My concern is, should I become the one that gets to deal with all the side effects? My body is never right from this point on. What about my medical benefits? What about how who's going to take care of my family? Who's going to maintain the level of income and quality that I've established for my family? Are you going to change rewrite my health plan, my health benefits? Since this is a work requirement, do I get also compensation for workers' comp? Should this vaccine rather, hit my body harder than, do I get some type of compensation for it? If you're so sure, why do you have me signing a disclaimer saying that the people that manufactured this thing don't have to be held accountable? You're not going to sue them because this is something that you are willfully going to do. Why are you making people sign those type of disclaimers? If you're so confident about these jabs, guess what? Let the people that created them be on the clock should something go wrong, that they have to take care of that person, that family who had to deal with the side effects from it. But the issue with the NBA is the power of the players. The power of the players in the NBA is what's causing the problem. The NBA is the only sport where the star player could say, I don't want to play anymore, and force themselves out and go to wherever they want to go to. Look what happened to James Harden. Look what's happening right now with Ben Simmons. So family, I just want to take a little time out here. So know your history. Know how to approach this situation. When you study about Daniel, our Israelite brothers and sisters that was in captivity, as I taught on this a while ago, guess what? They were in the same position that we're in. How the government, guess what? They were kidnapped, held captive, conquered, and now they're taking the best of the best, forcing them to go to be educated through their institutions, all these different things. Trying to force them to no longer hold on to their heritage, change their names to point it to Babylonian gods, try to change their diets, change their belief system, and become completely indoctrinated to the Babylonians' belief system. But the scripture tells us in Daniel chapter 1, but Daniel purposed. What is your purpose, family? When did you draw the line and say enough is enough? Said Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not sin before the Most High. They would not profane his body by eating what? Pork and all that other stuff. And what did he do? He was already in good standings with his supervisor. He went to his supervisor and brought his concerns to the supervisor. See, family, this is why you have to pay attention to your report, your reputation. The Hebrew word is sham, and the Israeli pronunciation is shame. You have to understand what is your reputation. So because Daniel already had a thorough reputation of being a good person, having a good reputation that he's a man that stands on what the standards, that he does not undercut and undermine anyone. So now he was able to have that discussion with his supervisor and say, hey, if me and my friends, if we look good, give us 10 days, 10. The Hebrew letter is the yad, right? The Hebrew number 10, the Hebrew letter that's the numerical value is 10 is the yad, redemption, outstretched arms. And we're going to touch on that a little bit tonight. So he said, if you just give us 10 days. See, Daniel fasted not so that he could go after the fast and eat pork, eat the things that's unclean, eat rodents, eating things that's all abomination to the Most High. They fasted so that way they don't ever have to eat those things. Y'all better grab hold of that. People that's still in the church who goes on the 21 Daniel fast, 21 fast. Daniel's first fast was so that way he would not eat swine, not be forced to eat the foods of the king, the foods that they sacrifice to gods, their deities. So when you get to the 21-day fast, he wasn't fasting so that way he come down and go right back into, go into eating unclean foods. No, he saw a vision and he wanted clarity on that vision. So he went on a fast. It wasn't, he didn't target, say, hey, pre-planning, say, I'm going to go on a 21-day fast. No, he went on a fast that lasted for 21 days, seeking clarity for a vision that he saw. You don't go on a fast, you say, I'm going to go on a fast for this amount of days. No, you go on a fast so that way until you get clarity on whatever you seeking from the Most High. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion in itself. But Daniel was in the same predicament that we're in right now. He had to deal with the politics. That's in the scriptures. All right. So I want to show two videos here. I want to show you two videos here so that way you can see the difference, right, between what we see happening among our people, those that truly are educated on the matters. I'm not saying educated from a perspective of being part of a educational institution for as far as like a university and so forth. I'm talking about those that are truly up to speed, or those that are truly awakened to what's going on and understand how to properly navigate. Because just because you are teaching this word doesn't mean that you know this word. Just because you have a high level of education and academia doesn't necessarily mean that you know it all. You just have a degree that says that you and confirm that you are a specialist in a particular area. For me, the IT, information technology, also divinity, for us, theology. My concentration was theology. That's what I really wanted to know, the arguments. So just because you have an education, a degree, doesn't mean that you are degreed right across the board, that you are certified across the board. It just means that you have you have an area that you have concentrated in, that you became skilled at. So even having a high level degree from seminary doesn't necessarily mean you know the Bible. You can have a high level degree in seminary and never read the Bible from front to back. That's a fact. So let me show you two types of people that we're dealing with right now. And majority of the people going to fall under this initial example. Let me play it right here. Matter of fact, let me put the ticker on for those that want to reach me offline. My information is on the bottom of your screen. But let me show you, let me play this video for you. right? This is a video that that I want to share with you, right? I call it the garbage can. I'm going to show you two approaches to the garbage can, right? And this is going to be something that I use as an example for many within our community. Many, matter of fact, just those that say that they are awakened and those that are, say that they understand and discernment and all these different things. No, you know what? I'm learning right now that not everyone that say that they are at a certain level when it comes to the scriptures, when it comes to the Holy Spirit, when it comes to knowing who Yah truly is, are there. Majority of the people, I want to say with clarity, and I hate to say this, but most of what you see today, most of the people fall up under this category with the garbage can. Let me play it right now. Here we go. Man, I feel sorry for that little boy, man. This remind me of Charlie Brown with Snoopy when Snoopy was fighting the chair, with Hey Little Birdie, right? When I think it was like the Thanksgiving special when Snoopy and the chair was fighting, right? So, but notice this here, guys. This is what you see of most people that say that they are they have a relationship with the Most High, that they are grounded in the Word. But when something happened, they struggle with their walk. They struggle with their relationship. They have these same type of struggles. A garbage can. This little boy is getting beat down by a garbage can. Let me play it one more time for you guys. This is most of the people, and I'm not just talking about those that are followers. I'm talking about leaders. This is why you have leaders having, the jab set up inside their place of worship. This is why you have leaders saying that, hey, do what the Messiah did. This is what the Messiah would do. If you love your neighbor, this is what you would do. This is why you have the governor of New York singing songs saying, hey, thanking the Most High for this miracle or having this whatever. This is most people right now. Matter of fact, I'm not just going to say that are in this truth, but just most people, period, that is struggling with their identity, struggling to take a stand. This is most people right now. I'm sorry, guys. Because this is one of the videos I show internally, when I'm teaching the leaders on how grounded they have to be, that if they're not careful, right, they can get beat up, right, by something that they shouldn't even be getting beat up with. If you don't have that foundation, people could come at you with anything. If you don't have that true understanding of the word, you can get beat up from any and everything, right? And you see a garbage can. He is getting beat up by a garbage can. What power do a garbage can have? Well, we see right there, it beat this little boy up. But let me share with you another example.
Eugene Bozzi grabbed his trash can when he was told a gator was lying just outside his neighbor's front door.
Somebody got to step up and do something. We all got to look out for each other, right?
Bozzi's a military veteran and a father. Only in Florida a year, the native of Philadelphia felt an alligator's power up close.
I was frightened when I had it in it because it was so powerful. And I didn't expect that. And it was pushing itself out, whipping its tail around.
Now, I can't say with any certainty that this is the same alligator, but it is the pond where that alligator was released by the neighbor. And the alligator right here appears to be doing well. The 6-footer was in front of her home, and she had no idea until she heard the commotion. Once the gator was in the trash can, Bozzi quickly maneuvered it down the embankment toward the retention pond, pushing it over and hightailing it up the hill.
Army training kicked in, just get it done, and drop him in there and keep it moving.
He needed a quick return and a snatch of the trash can to complete the mission.
Now, guys, you see a difference of how one got beat up by the garbage can while the other used the garbage can as a weapon, as a tool to literally put at least a 6-foot gator inside the garbage can and then took that threat. Remember, see, there's so many nuggets in there. He was this brother man, who was a former soldier. He said his training kicked in. See, family, that's where you have to start questioning the true training of many of these leaders. Because now when we see situations taking place, what is kicking in? Either you're going to fall on the rock or the rock going to fall on you. Either you're going to be able to what? Handle that garbage can, or that garbage can is going to handle you. Either you're going to what? Understand the situation, or the situation is going to handle you. So that little boy, I give him credit because he never gave up. He was determined to pull that garbage can. He was just pulling the garbage can down the street and got beat up by the garbage can. I think he got dazed by especially that last whack. But then you have a brother man who was a former soldier when a situation happened because it was a gator. It was a serpent. Oh, come on, y'all better grab hold of this. It was a serpent, and yes, he was from Philly. And I'm sure if you guys understand Philly, just like Newark, New Jersey, and just like Brooklyn, New York, just like the Bronx, just like Crenshaw and some of the different places like Houston, when you come up a certain way, you have a certain fight. So when situations happen, especially when you get properly trained, you don't run from the fight, you run to the fight. You don't run away from the threat, you run to the threat to mitigate that situation. So here it is. A woman didn't even know that it was a gator at least 6 feet in length right in front of her house. But this man jumped into gear. He grabbed a garbage can and used the garbage can as a weapon, and then got this gator inside this garbage can and knew exactly what to do. See, you had a man versus a boy. See, we have a lot of people that are disguising themselves as being men, disguising themselves as being authoritative, but really they are the boy. Because when it's time to really get into the trenches, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? Come on, we have to be real about this. See, you're wired, like I said before, when you're a soldier, when you're truly a soldier, you are wired different than everyone else. You're wired differently. You see things differently. You process things differently. When you see a threat, you don't run. You go towards the threat. You don't run away from the threat. It doesn't have to be on your doorsteps, but you know that it's on a doorstep inside your community. So you're ready to step up and help mitigate the situation, not add to the problem. So this first clip, and I'm gonna share it one more time. I'm not, poor boy here. I feel bad for him, but let me share it one more time. See, most of these Stephen A. Smiths, these Keyshawn Johnsons, these, who's saying, hey, I need to know whether you are vaccinated or not. That's none of your business. If you say that you're protected by the jab, then what does it matter what happens on me with me? You protected. Isn't that what Bradley Bill stated? Let's play it one more time. And I'm going to play both videos back to back so you can see the comparisons, and then we'll move forward.
Eugene Bozzi grabbed his trash can when he was told a gator was lying just outside his neighbor's front door.
Somebody got to step up and do something. We all got to look out for each other, right?
Bozzi's a military veteran and a father. Only in Florida a year, the native of Philadelphia felt an alligator's power up close.
I was frightened when I had it in it because it was so powerful. And I didn't expect that. And it was pushing itself out, whipping its tail around.
Now, I can't say with any certainty that this is the same alligator, but it is the pond where that alligator was released by the neighbor. And the alligator right here appears to be doing well. The 6-footer was in front of her home, and she had no idea until she heard the commotion. Once the gator was in the trash can, Bozzi quickly maneuvered it down the embankment toward the retention pond, pushing it over and hightailing it up the hill.
Army training kicked in, just get it done and drop him in there and keep it moving.
He needed a quick return and a snatch of the trash can to complete the mission.
So family, there's a lot that we could go off of and just really learn off of that. Just those 2 videos right there. I could teach that all day. I could teach off of that all day. All day. All day. So I want to take you to a particular text because I know many are celebrating the holy days, the holy feast days that belong to the Most High, that He given to us to honor. So I want to start off here because I know many of you guys may want to know exactly what does it mean. What does what does each feast day mean? What does it stand for? What does the Day of Atonement stand for? What does or actually the blowing of the trumpets, the Day of Atonement, the Feast of Tabernacles? What does these different feasts means? So we're going to touch on some of them just for a little bit. Let me see what time it is. I'll go for another 30 minutes because I definitely have to get back into some of the things that I'm doing. Yes, I got a tie on today. I decided to wear a suit today because of from the perspective of, I know we are in this land of captivity and we still have to leaders. You still have to be an example to the young people on how to carry themselves, how to present themselves. And sometimes every now and then I'll pull out the suit and throw my tie on, just so that way young people could see that when you, for example, go up to those courts, put a suit on. When you're going into an interview, put a suit on, put a tie on. Learn how to abase, learn how to abound, learn how to adjust to what's in front of you. Right? There's nothing wrong with putting a suit on. I wear my fringes, I wear my dashiki fringes. I do all of those things. But every now and then I have to make sure that I'm reminding the men in our assembly and those that are watching me that's outside of our assembly that you still have to learn how to adjust. Right? You still have to learn how to properly carry yourself. All right. So today I had my suit on today. That's why you see the tie hanging down, because I had my suit on today, just so that way, again, to make sure that I am a true example to the people that are in our assembly and those that are not part of the assembly, but still giving them that example. All right. And that it's all right to be articulate. It's all right to be a geek, because I am a geek in every sense of the word. I am a geek. All right, but let's go ahead and get into it. Let's deal with, and I want to give peace, shout outs to Lawrence. Want to say peace and blessings to you, my brother. And I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section if you want to jump in at any time. Just to kind of give a shout out to the people. Feel free to do so, as well as Jay Highstyle. I see you I see you inside the chat as well. So let me copy this link. And if you want to jump in, just to say, give a quick shout out, quick hello to the family, feel free to do so. The link is inside the chat. Appreciate you guys. All right. But let's go ahead and get into it here. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get on into it. Let's see here. All right. And also I saw Jay Highstyle. We'll go through our shout outs at the end of the lesson, but let's go ahead and get into it here. All right, let me maximize the screen. Blowing of the trumpets. Blowing of the trumpets. Let's start at Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. Let me give you some prophecy here. And we're witnessing this today. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall swear and shall wear out the holy people of the Most High. When you see that word saints, actually, this is dealing with Israel. Shall wear out the holy people of the Most High. I don't like to just say saints, because when we start understanding the Catholic definition, this is a word that was created by the Catholics on someone that they deemed to be holy, someone that they deemed to reach a certain threshold that met certain requirements after their death. So here you will see Quadash, right? The holy people of the Most High. That's what it really means. His called out people, right? Remember we taught on this back on Thursday. His called out people, the whole assembly of witnesses, Israel, or Qahal, Adath, Yashara'al. I just said it in Hebrew for those that are not familiar with Hebrew. I said it in the ancient Hebrew. But notice what it says here. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the holy people of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. I believe we're living in this time right now. I believe what we see happening, because this is a period of 7.5 years. What happened the last campaign, the last 4 years, the initial 4 years with President Trump. And now we're transitioning into the administration of the Bidens. And look at what's happening. But notice what it says here. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% accurate, because we're interpreting prophecy. But this is my belief, right? But anyway, but notice what it says here. Think to change times and laws. Times and laws. See, most will focus on trying to decide whether or not if the Gregorian calendar is accurate or not. Family, I'm going to make this clear. There's never a question of the days of the week. The first day of the week to the seventh day of the week has never been a question, never been an issue. The issue is what you do on those days of the week. That's where the things have been changed by the Roman Catholic Church. That's what's been changed. This playbook, even beginning when we look at the Greeks, that's what they were doing in the Maccabees, wanting to change not the Shabbat itself, but what Israel do on the seventh day. They want to profane the seventh day worship and move them to the first day of the week. Change times and laws. Right? In the Maccabees, you see how they were doing what? Trying to force the people to eat foods that are an abomination and not circumcise their boys. We see the Babylonians. We see the playbook. The Babylonians were doing the same thing, forcing their culture on Israel. changing times and laws. Times, in other words, when we start understanding the times of worship, the days of worship. The Most High has given us the ability, he's given us the signs and the abilities how to what? Interpret these signs so that way we can recalibrate if things should get off. We can look at the weather and tell us what tell you what's going to happen in that particular day. We can look at the sun and project in that particular season or what type of season we're in. If you go back and look at the lesson that I gave, Stonehenge, the original church, is a circular place of worship. But if you did an aerial view of Stonehenge, what Stonehenge is actually is a dial. With Stonehenge, you can actually project and tell when the spring equinox, the autumn equinox, right? The spring, the fall, and then also the summer equinox. On solstice, and which is normally around June 21st to June 22nd, and also the winter solstice. Those are the 4 seasons right there. And you don't need a digital watch to pay attention to what's going on in those seasons. As we see Stonehenge, right? As we see other cultures that knew how to what? Understand the times and the times of the seasons. Just like that, we can tell the days of the weeks. The days of the weeks haven't been changed in terms of the first day, the second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day. What's been changed is what you do on those days. All right. So times and laws. Times, your time of worship, your day of worship. Laws. The dietary laws is one of the things that many have been attacking. Times and laws. Marriage is being changed. The law of marriage is being changed right now. So again, family, let's pay attention. The Most High has given us the signs and how to pay attention to the signs to understand what season that we are in. You can go out. I don't need to tell you whether or not we're in the fall season. You could go outside and look at the trees and tell whether or not you're in the fall versus the winter time, because you'll see the trees start. You'll see the leaves coming down. You'll also see the daylight is starting to minimize. So the Most High has given us signs that's all around us that we can recalibrate ourselves, get ourselves sync with the seasons. So don't let anyone fool you when they say, "Oh, no one ever don't know what the Shabbat is. The Shabbat could be a Wednesday." No, that's not correct. The issue is never what day the Shabbat is. The issue is what you do on it. The issue is not the days of the week. The issue is, when do you celebrate the feast days? When do you celebrate really designating the time to do corporate worship? That's what's been attacked. And we have the signs on how to do so. All right. So wear out. Let's see the Hebrew definition of wear out, so you can put it in this proper text and understand what the text is saying. Bala, right? Let's see what it means. Fail. Wear out, decay, consume, use up completely. How many times have our community has been used up completely for the sake of these politicians? Come up during election time and get our communities going right into the church and getting our people to support them. And then once they get elected, they turn their backs on our people. How many times have they came to our community, made all kinds of promises only to fail our community? We just saw the contradiction. Let me play the contradiction of the very people that many of you guys have voted for. Let me play the contradictions again.
I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power. Just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role that the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
We cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't.
No, definitely not. You don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandating from the federal government to the general population. It would be unenforceable and not appropriate.
We see the contradictions there, right? From those key individuals. But now look at what's happening right now. People are forgotten about this. They've forgotten about those clips that I shared. So Bala, to fail, to wear out. In other words, look at some of what was put in place. That if you don't take the jabs, then you're going to have to be tested multiple times a week at your expense. So that's the what? Wear you out. To say, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go get it. You know, we're going to threaten your livelihood to wear you out so that way you could say, oh, you know what? I can't afford to lose this job. I don't have resources saved up. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take it, even though I'm forced to do it. I know that I'm going to do it anyway. That's right, Jay Highstyle. We got to start learning how to use their words against them. That's the art of war. Most of our people don't understand the art of war. Hasatan tried to use the word against the Messiah when he was being tempted. He quoted the word. And the Messiah responded with the word. See, I know the whole playbook on that. That's why if anyone call themselves trying to come against me, okay, you better make sure you have your stuff straight, because I'm going to use your words against you. That's why we have to make sure when we are teaching, make sure you teach the word. Make sure you in the right spirit, which is the Holy Spirit. Make sure you teach in the text with accuracy. So this is what it's saying when it says to wear out, to make us fail, to use us up completely, to harass constantly. Aren't we being harassed right now? Now the new term for, the N word is now unvaccinated. It's being treated as the new N word. That's the new N word. That's the new byword, unvaccinated, right? The unvaccinated is a danger to those that are vaccinated. What kind of stuff does that? What is that? How is that? Anyway, so what is Rosh Hashanah? I'll just go to touch on this real quick, but I want to get to a key point. Rosh Hashanah. This is the Hebrew letter. In the Israeli language is pronounced Resh. In ancient Hebrew, Ra'ash, right? This letter means head, top, ranking, beginning, protocol. So the numerical value is 200. So head, top, rank, beginning. So when you understand the Hebrew letters, the first 10 letters starts off in increments of 1. The next 10 letters are increments of 10, right? And then the last couple of letters, they are in increments of 100. All right. So by the time we get to by the time we get to the Tha, the Tha has the numerical value of 400. So you see this letter, whenever you see head inside the scriptures, you're going to see head, top, rank, beginning. You want to see Ra'ash or the Rodesh. And the pictograph looks like a person with an afro. That's a head, right, with an afro. Come on, family. We pay attention to these letters. Hasatan has a lot of people trying to get you to turn away from these letters. This is a pictograph. All right. So this word here, Shana, right? Year, Shana. Each letter, let me just share with you what each letter means, right? This is the Shan. And in the Israeli language, it's pronounced Sheen if the Nakud, the mark, is over to the right of the letter, or if it's to the left of the letter, it's pronounced Seen. In ancient Hebrew, you don't have to worry about these branding, these man-made marks that was placed over the letters. So Shan, right? Teeth, tool, right? Teeth, tool. And the pictograph would be teeth. The Nan, right? Seed, sprout, right? As you see here, seed, sprout, but also perpetual, continue. The pictograph looks like a seed. The last letter is the ha, which means reveal, uncover, open. This is where you get also the Hebrew word galah, redemption, right? The name of who? Our brothers and sisters who are referred to as Gullah, which all of us are connected. Not going to get into all of that. So this gives you an understanding of the word Shana, year, what it means, right? Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah. All right. So remember, I just pointed out the Ra'ash or Resh, that means what? Head. So when we see Shana, the year, head of the year, that's what it really means, head of the year. And in this article, history.com, it says the Jewish New Year is one of Judaism's holiest days. Wait a minute. When did that become the holiest? Meaning head of the year or first of the year. Wait a minute. When did the seventh month become the first of the year? The festival begins on the first day of Tishrei, the seventh month of the Hebrew calendar, which falls during September or October. Rosh Hashanah commemorates the creation of the world and marks the beginning of the days of awe, a 10-day period of introspection and repentance that culminates in the Yom Kippur holiday, also known as the Day of Atonement. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the two high holy days in Jewish religion. Right? When you go further down in that article, it tells you Rosh Hashanah is not mentioned in Torah. Now I'm going to show you that it is mentioned in Torah. This is why you have to vet the information that you read. Rosh Hashanah, in other words, the head, the year, right, is not mentioned in the Torah. Judaism's founding religious texts and appear under different names in the Bible. Though the holiday was likely well established by the 6th century BC, the phrase Rosh Hashanah, right? I didn't put the whole article here, but it says that in this article, it's not mentioned in Torah. And I'm going to explain that. In another key quote, it says appears under different names in the Bible. Let me show you another article. This is coming from Times of Israel, right? And this is written by Israel Drazen, right? Rosh Hashanah is not a biblical holiday. Let me say it again. Rosh Hashanah is not a biblical holiday. Have you ever wondered why Rosh Hashanah, and I'm not, this is coming from the Jewish community as we know them. So anyone that tried to tell you that this is a new year, guess what? That is incorrect. That's why I like to give you sources so you can vet them for yourself. So have you ever wondered why Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are not highlighted in the Torah as pilgrimage holidays? Right? Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 16, actually 16 and 17 gives you an understanding of what it says here, the pilgrimage holidays, as Passover, Shabbat, and Sukkot are. This is because neither Rosh Hashanah nor Yom Kippur are biblical holidays, right? If we want to actually deal with a celebration is when we get to the Passover. But the Passover is not a celebration of what? The head of the true new year of the Israelites, but more so celebrating the judgment that was passed over Israel, the final judgment, the 10th judgment, the 10th phase of the judgment. All right. So both replaced biblical holidays and are notably different from the holidays they replace. The biblical holiday Yom Teruah, which was replaced by Rosh Hashanah, had a totally different purpose than Rosh Hashanah, which focuses on the onset of a new year, repentance, and commitment to live the next year. All right. Another source. All right. Rosh Hashanah wasn't always the new year. Here's this Jewish holiday. Notice what it says here. Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year, the day the Hebrew calendar begins. But that wasn't always the case. In fact, the ancient Hebrews probably had no concept of when the year started at all. Now, this is, we could remember this is an opinion, right? Probably this is an opinion by someone, and we're going to give you clarity here. Nor did they give the months names. Remember, I've been teaching that. See, when you look at Torah, right? I'm not getting into the prophets. I'm not getting into Nehemiah, who was in captivity. I'm talking about Torah, what many refer to as the Pentateuch. You will not see a name used for the holiday. I mean, for the day, the months, not even a name for each day of the week. You'll see Moses use numbers like the first day of the week, the second day of the week, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, the seventh day. We even see that highlighted in creation, even with the months, the first month, the second month, the third month, the fourth month. Abib is not the day, the number or the name of a month. It's the name of a season. A season of what? The harvest being ripe. And it lines right up with the Passover, right? When that harvest is right, it's parallel to Israel being right to what? Coming out of Egypt. Anyway, so again, the names of the month that you see that are being used today, those are Babylonian names, Sumerian names. Tammuz, the season of Tammuz. Come on now. Ezekiel chapter 8 deals with Tammuz. Women worshiping and weeping for Tammuz, but now that is referred to as a month, a season that is on the calendar right now, the Jewish calendar. But it says, but wasn't always the case. In fact, the ancient Hebrews probably had no concept of when the year started at all, nor did they give the months names. We already have proof that they have the beginning of the year, right? Their year. The Torah merely enumerating them the first month, the seventh month. And I've been teaching this for years. On the other hand, the first of Tishrei celebrates as Rosh Hashanah nowadays is mentioned as a holiday, albeit a very minor one. It is in no way a celebration of the new year, quite contrary. And then it gives Leviticus 23:24 says regarding the first day of Tishrei, in the seventh month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath or Shabbat, as in day of rest, a memorial of blowing of trumpets and holy convocation. The Bible does not list any special practices for the holiday beyond blowing trumpets and sacrificing some animals, though fewer than were sacrificed on the two major holidays, Passover and Sukkot. No specific reason is given for the blowing of the trumpets. And I'm going to give you clarity on that. Nor are we told what we are supposed to remember. Now, let's go ahead and debunk what they said that Rosh Hashanah is not in the scriptures. It's not mentioned in the scriptures. Yes, it is, but it's not the meaning of it in terms of the celebration. Let me show you Ezekiel chapter 40, right? Verse 1. And this is what you see here highlighted here. Right? Ba, Rash, right? Rash or Ra'ash rather. Ba, this is in. Ba, Ra'ash or Rash. My mouth is dry, so I can't do the roll, but Rash, right? Ha, the year. Right? And right here, right? Chadash, this is what? Month, right? New, rather. You also see this here oftentimes, the Hebrew word where you see month, refresh, renew. So Ra'ash Ha-Shana or Rash, Rash Hashana. You see it right here. It's in the scriptures. But notice what it says here. In the 5 and 20th year of our captivity, in the beginning, Ra'ash or Rash of the year, Shana, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after the city was smitten. In the self same day, the hand of Yahweh was upon me and brought me thither. So we see there's no celebration of what we see today. This is dealing with not this time of the year. This is dealing with the actual year of the new year for Israel. Notice what it says. This is dealing with the first month, because in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after the captivity, after that city was smitten. This is dealing with the beginning of Israel's calendar, not the 7th month. So the first Hebrew calendar, right? This is the first month of the first. When I encourage you guys to go look up the videos that I did, the resurrection, when he is risen, what day? And I walk you through this. Showing you how to reconstruct the initial calendar with accuracy. So this is the actual first day of the month when Israel was preparing to come out of Egypt. This is the first month. This is the first month. The first day began on the 5th, what would be the 5th day of the week, the first month, 2nd, and the first Shabbat was on the 3rd. But then we see in the midst of the week, we see the 14th, which would be what? The Pesach. And the 15th would be what? The day of unleavened bread. And notice you see another Shabbat in this timeline. This is what? The month, the day that lines up when the Messiah was lynched on this day. And what? 3 days later, right? 1, 2, 3, 72 hours later, this is the day that he rose on, right? The third hour, and we see the third hour here, 72 hours later, 3 days later, full 72 hours later, on the third hour, on the 17th day, which was a Shabbat. All right. So we have the Passover, also the day of preparation. Also, we see that this is the day of lynching of our Hebrew Israelite Messiah. As I pointed out, the first day of unleavened bread, right? This is a Shabbat right here. This is a high holy day. So when the Messiah, when the Marys came to the sepulcher, right? Let me take this off here. When they came to the sepulcher, they came on this day after what? Shabbats, Sabbatons, plural in the Greek. After what? The Shabbats, the multiple Shabbats. These are multiple Shabbats. They came on this day, right? But the Messiah had already risen. These are multiple Shabbats and within this week. So they came, the Greek, you'll see Sabbaton, which means transliterates to Shabbats, plural. Anyway, first day of unleavened bread. On the 10th this is the day that they selected and secured the lamb. Selected and secured the lamb. Want to make sure you understand. Selected and secure. They didn't go buy and selling. No, they selected the lamb that they already had. And what? They used that lamb to be the lamb that they were going to use for the sacrifice. So the Hebrew calendar, right, of 2021. Right? These are the actual days right here. And I'm not throwing shade at anyone. This is the actual first day. The first day of the month actually began. Let me bring it back. Right. For Israel, right. The first new moon after the spring equinox will fall on the 12th, I believe, of April. And these are the actual holy days. I didn't put the dates in here. This is how it will fall into place. I should have actually lined it up to, I can't remember if I did, but this is the actual new year began on the 12th of April for Israel. First day of unleavened bread. So I'm just giving you the highlights. Yeah, this is lined up with the 12th of April. So this is giving you understanding that actually the Passover would have been a later date. But anyway, not getting into all of that. So how important is the 7th month? Genesis chapter 8, verse 3 and 4. And then we're going to fast forward to another area and we're going to wrap this up. This is Genesis chapter 8, verse 3 and 4. And the water returned off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated. Verse 4. And the ark rested. Knock. Some areas you'll see nawak, right? You'll see a Y here, but knock. And the ark rested in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, upon the mountains of Ararat. Right? So the ark rested, knock. So let's define this word knock, rested. It says here, to rest, settle down, dwell, to dwell, stay, right? Give comfort, cease. And it goes on to say, let down, be quiet, remain, set down, make quiet. So we're being told that the ark stopped on this particular day of the month. So in the ark settled down and gave comfort, was made to be quiet. What's going on here? Let me fast forward. I don't know what happened here. All right. Let me give clarity on how you would read that portion of the text. Give you proper clarity. And the ark settled down, gave comfort, was made to be quiet, rested. Rested. The ark rested. So let me pull this up here. This is the 7th month calendar, right? October 9th, right? Would actually be the first day of the month, actually beginning at sundown, as you see here. The ark rested, right? Which be equivalent to October 24th, right? In the 7th month, the 17th day, the ark rested. And if you go backwards and calculate the months, you'll see that the ark began to, the actual rain and everything started in the 2nd month. Right. But anyway, another Hebrew word that translates to be quiet, karash. So we saw knock for be quiet or rest. But here's another Hebrew word, karash. Right. And let's see what karash means. It means to scratch, to be silent, to be let alone, to be deaf, cease, be deaf, be quiet, keep silent, speak not a word, be still, hold tongue. So let's bring this together. Genesis chapter, well, actually, is this Genesis? Actually, no, we're going to go to Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14 to bring this together, right? I want you guys to understand this. I'm going to bring all of this together here. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh, which he will show you today. For the Egyptians who ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Yahweh shall fight for you. This is a key. You guys hear me quote this all the time. Yahweh shall fight for you, lakam, for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Notice the word here, karash. You don't see shalom or shalom. Some would say shalom. That's a whole nother discussion here about the O sound. Matter of fact, let me just play the clip here. Let me just play the clip about the O sound, because, you know, you got a lot of people trying to bash those that are saying shalom, trying to mock it. But let me give you just a little tad bit of history about the Cholam Va.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the 3 classes, ah, e, and u. And then down the side, the 4 lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the ah class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the ah class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally, there was no O sound in Hebrew. Everything that is a cholam vav used to be a long ah. If you know the Hebrew word for peace, it's shalom. If you know the Arabic word for peace, it's salam. And that long ah in Arabic is now an o in Hebrew. And so historically, cholam vav was a long ah class vowel, and that's why we put it here.
What? 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 What?
See, I thought I'd play that a few times, you know, because, you know, I sit back and be quiet and I watch things and people try to make up all kinds of narratives, you know, thinking that, hey, Pastor Kelly just making stuff up. Oh, he's part of this Lashawan Kwadash, even though you guys never heard me use that term, right? But try to use that as a way to try to throw slander and shade on our people, to give this impression that we are illiterate. I am well studied, right? And I've been saying this for years on top of years, that there was no O sounds in the original language. It was only the ah sound. I got plenty of sources that I can debunk that with. So I don't knock anyone that says shalom, but those that are saying shalom, don't knock anyone that's saying shalom, because I can prove shalom. Don't knock anyone. We still all trying to figure some of these things out. We're still being open and still learning and improving as we go along in this walk. At one time, I wasn't honoring the Shabbat, but now I'm honoring the Shabbat. At one time, when I came into this truth, guess what? I was still having first day of the week services. But guess what? Look at where I'm at now. Little by little. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 24, verse 25. Read that. You can learn a lot of wisdom from those few couple of verses. So let's give it a 3-piece again for all those that's trying to throw shade on our community. And let's toss it out. All right. So I just thought I'd give you guys a little snippet there. See, this is why, you know, I spent a lot of money on my education. I spent a lot of money on the books and the stuff that I've read over the years and the sources that I used. I still make it a point to jump in classes. I'm not even going to get into the details of it, just so I can have access to certain libraries, things that you won't have, information that you won't have when you go into like a Georgetown, when you're going to like a Rutgers. No, I go to the Ivy League. I go to their libraries. So that way I can bring out exactly what the scripture says. That's right. Let me bring my Afro Thunder out here. Let me bring my Afro Thunder out here. See, I'm not one to brag about anything. I just like to give the truth and let our people disseminate it for themselves.
Somebody better call the doctor.
All right. That's right, my buddy Jay High Style. You can never learn enough. Guess what? And I know a lot, but every day I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning, because I take the humble approach that, guess what? I don't know it all. But the key is accessing the one who does have it all and know it all. And that's the Father through his Son, and understanding the importance of the Holy Spirit. All right, let's get back into it. Let's wrap this up here. All right, because I do want to get to a key point. All right, so notice what it says. Ye shall hold your peace, not shalom, not shalom, not shalom. You shall hold your peace, karash. In other words, be quiet. So the power of peace be still. Let me give you clarity on here. The power of peace be still. Karash knock. So family, we have to learn how to be quiet. Sometimes we just talk too much. I may have to put that video clip up in here with Run DMC. You talk too much. You talk about people you don't even know. You talk about places you never go. Man, I've been to places. I've been to a lot of places that I don't brag about. starting with Savannah, Georgia, multiple times. I don't go off of third-party information. I've been here multiple times. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. Let's get back to here. I didn't want to bring that up in here, but hey, not going to sit here and let people try to build up narratives and they haven't even taken the journey to go do the research for themselves. So let's bring it back in. The power of peace, be still. Karash Nak. Mark chapter 4, verse 39 through 40. It says this, and he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? He didn't say little faith. He says, how is it that you have no faith? See, we're witnessing right now. This is what we're witnessing from the leaders right now that are coming up with all kinds of foolishness of saying what the Messiah would do. Hey, if you love your neighbor, you'll make decisions based off your neighbor. You'll do all of these things. You'll inject things into your body, whether even though you don't agree with it, even though you saw the contradictions that was being taught on it. But if you love your neighbor, do what Christ did. Do what Christ would do. Are you serious? See, those are the ones that are dealing with this right here. Oh man, guys, I'm trying not. I just did my geek laugh. You guys heard me snort here. Oh man, that's how I laugh. That's my geeky laugh. Oh my gosh, I laugh every time I see that poor boy just struggling with that garbage can. But that's the leaders that you actually see that are leading assemblies, that are coming up with all kinds of foolishness. Jamal Bryant saying that, hey, you can't come into the assembly unless you have proof that you have taken the jab. Who is this guy? He shouldn't even be teaching. He should not be teaching anyone with his background, his history. Anyway, I'm all fired up, guys. Yeah, I'm all fired up. I gotta blame my buddy Jay High Style. Jay, I gotta blame somebody. I'm blaming you. Right? See, that's what you see most of the leaders. They're that boy struggling with the word. They are struggling with the word so hard. They're struggling with the truth so hard that they are getting beat up. Let's show it one more time. This is what they're doing. They're struggling with that truth. I'm going to show it one more time. That's what I had to bring that out. That's what that guy garbage can did to that little boy at the end. That the garbage can did a Zab Judah knockout on him. Let me just show that again. This is just exactly how that little boy. This is how dazed he was after that last hit from that garbage can.
It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over!
My apologies, family, but my stomach is hurt doing that, man. Y'all gonna make me start quoting Shrek up in there. Oh, my stomach hurt. I gotta pee. Not Shrek, but what's that? Kung Fu Panda. Yeah, I'm a geek, guys. Y'all hearing some of the geeks in me. All right, coming out. But let's wrap this up. I want to get to another key point as we wrap up. But he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, peace be still. And the wind ceased. And there was a great calm. And he said unto them, why are ye so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith? Come on, leaders. How is it? You teach this scripture. You got all this education. You say how great Christ is. Why is it? Why is it that you are so fearful? How is it that ye have not some faith, no faith? The Hebrew word that transliterates or translates to the word faith, right, is the word aman. Aman means faith. You'll also see it translated to the word trust. You'll also see it translated to the word believe. Also, it means consistent. It means confirmation, and also go to the right hand. So the Messiah is saying here, why are you so fearful? How is it that ye have no faith, have no belief in going to the right hand, who the Messiah is the right hand? He's questioning his disciples because his disciples been around him. They witnessed some of the miraculous things that he had done. And these same disciples was kind of like this, like my grandmother would say, kind of smelling themselves. Hey, Messiah, why you talk to them one way and you talk to us another way? Where's your faith? How is it that ye have no faith? Why you are so fearful? That's why I'm not worried about what's happening now. I'm not worried about the mandates and all that stuff because I'm not fearful. My Yah is greater, awesome, and power. Yah, you are higher than any other. Let me say that again. My Yah is greater. Oh, come on, y'all better hear this, Israel. My Yah is greater. I challenge you to share this video with your brothers and sisters. My Yah is greater, awesome, and power. Yah, you are higher than any other. And I will not mesh your name up with any other name. I will not take your name and mix it up with any other name. Come on, family. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. How important is the seventh month? Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 and 3. Let's go to the scriptures here. And on the seventh day, Elohim ended his work, which he had made, and he had rested Shabbat on the seventh day from all his work. He didn't say he rested on a Saturday. He's not mentioning any of the worship of the sun, moon, and the stars. He's not referring to any planets. He did not rest on a Saturday. It says he rested on the seventh day. On the seventh day, Elohim ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all, not some, all his work, which he had made. Verse 3, and Elohim blessed Barak. The seventh day, Barak saluted the seventh day. That's why I can relate to that brother, man, when he said his skill set kicked in, his army training kicked in. He understands the process. He understands the importance of his training to kick in whenever there seemed to be a struggle, a threat. The woman didn't even know that there was a threat, but he interceded. She had no clue about the commotion, but he interceded, and Elohim blessed, Barak saluted. So that soldier understands what it means to salute. The seventh day and sanctified it, made it holy, because that in it he had rested from all his work, which Elohim created and made. The Hebrew definition of Shabbat. This is shut down anyone that says, "Oh, Israel wasn't." No one was celebrating. No one was worshiping on the Shabbat. Yes, they were from the very beginning. Because if you understand what the word means, you will see that they were celebrating. Notice what it says: desist from exertion. Cease. Celebrate. What? Celebrate. What? Let me say it in slow motion. Celebrate. for the people in the back. So desist from exertion, cease, celebrate, keep. Notice what it says, keep Sabbath, keep Shabbat. That's the proper pronunciation. Keep, protect, keep, right? The Hebrew word is shamar, which means to what? Defend, watch over. We're supposed to be, as Israelites, we've been selected by the Most High to be the ones to watch over the Shabbat, to watch over, to make sure that we are properly doing the things that we're supposed to do for the Most High, for our celebrating. Leave, put away, down, rest. The word blessed, barak, let's see what it means. To kneel, come on, family. That's what barak means. It means to what? To kneel. By implications, to bless the Most High as an act of adoration, and vice versa, man as a benefit. This is why the Messiah said the Shabbat was not made for you. Man was not made for the Shabbat, but the Shabbat was made for you to do what? To kneel down, to bless the Most High as an act of adoration, and vice versa, because it is a benefit. To what? Also congratulate, kneel down, praise, salute, and also thank. So anyone that says we're not supposed to honor the Shabbat, guess what? You don't understand the text. You don't know the text. That's anyone. Whether you are in the church or outside the church, you are supposed to be honoring the Father on the Shabbat. You're supposed to be celebrating. You're supposed to be returning the salute. In the military, if you are saluted and you don't return the salute, you can get in trouble. The Most High has placed the Shabbat to be a permanent salute to his people, to all people, not just the Israelites, but to all. That's what the Shabbat means. It means that we're supposed to what? Bless it. We're supposed to return the salute to the Father. And the reason why Israel is in trouble right now, because we forgot about that. We're not returning the salute. The Most High looked at all his creation by the time he concluded the 6th day and said everything was good. So now as he's looking at his creation, he gave him a salute. Y'all don't, come on now. The soldiers, those that was in the military understand this. When you're doing an inspection, when you have to fall in formation and that drill sergeant walks line by line, person by person, inspecting their clothes, making sure that there's no threads hanging out of there, any strings hanging out, no lint on the uniform, making sure it's not wrinkled, make sure your boots are shined, make sure your hat is on correctly. And guess what? He will inspect every person within the flight, and if everyone is in the place that they're supposed to be, he gives them a salute. And guess what we have to do? Return the salute. Come on, family. Anyway, I'm gonna have to put on some deodorant after this teaching. I'm sweating up in here. All right, let's wrap this up. So it says he also what? Sanctified this day. Well, what does sanctified mean? Let's see what sanctified means. Quadash. It means clean, consecrate. In other words, when it says consecrate, we also see proclaim. We see keep, purify, sanctify. Guess what? This is an ordination. He ordained. This is the first ordination service right here, family. The first ordination service. Clean, consecrate, dedicate. Dedicate, the dedication service. We were celebrating the Feast of Dedication, the Day of Dedication, well before the tabernacle came into play. We were celebrating the Shabbat because it was dedicated to this day to be a corporate worship for the Most High. Clean, consecrate, dedicate, keep, prepare, proclaim, purify, sanctify. That's what it means. So the Shabbat also is supposed to be what? A weapon. This is the 7th day of the week, right? 7th day of the week, the Shabbat. But let me show you the 7th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So Aleph Bayath. Some would say Aleph Beth. Zion. In the Israeli language, it's pronounced Zayin. The numerical value is 7. It means weapon. Do you know the Shabbat is supposed to be a weapon? Shabbat is supposed to allow your body to recalibrate itself by what? Worshiping and acknowledging the Father. He inhabits what? The praises of Israel. That's what the scripture actually says, not just his people, but inhabits the praises, halah, of Israel. So when the Most High shows up, he will not leave us the same. He will bring that healing if you need healing. He will lift you up if you need to be lifted up. So this is the 7th letter. The Shabbat is also a weapon to help your body what? Rest. That's the pictograph. So Exodus 31, 14 through 18. And then I'm going to go skip to a key part. Exodus 31, starting at verse 13. Speak. Let me say it again. Speak thou unto the children of Israel, saying, verily my what? Shabbat ye shall keep. This is not an option. It says ye shall keep, for it is a sign, awath or ath, between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am Yahweh that doeth sanctify you. What is the greatest sign that happened on the Shabbat? The resurrection. Verse 14, ye shall keep the Shabbat. Therefore it is holy unto you. Everyone that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. Now, of course, this is where grace come into play, because grace allows us to get it right. Grace allows us, if we're not doing it and honoring the Shabbat, grace allows us to get it right, to repent. Grace allows us to correct our actions, not continue to wallow in sin and disrespect of the Father. Verse 15, 6 days may work be done, but in the 7th is the Shabbat rest. Guess what? The 6th day is also referred to as the day of preparation. Why? Because on the 6th day, that's where you double up on your work, double up on your food, your cooking. So that way on the 7th day, you can rest. You don't have to worry about cooking. Right? So 6 days may work be done, but the 7th day is the Shabbat rest, holy to Yahweh. Whosoever do any work on the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Verse 16, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Shabbat. It didn't say maybe, shall keep the Shabbat throughout their generations for a perpetual. So it didn't end. But the Roman Catholic Church was trying to end it with Israel and honoring it. For it is a perpetual covenant, perpetual, ongoing, continuance, covenant. Verse 17, it is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. Like Chris Rock would say, Chris Tucker would say, forever, ever, ever, ever. In Fridays, it is forever. For in 6 days, Yahweh made heaven and earth. And on the 7th day, he rested. Some will try to twist it and try to say, oh, he rested when he did his work and stopped doing his work into the 7th day. No, stop it. No, on the 7th day, once that clock, right? Once Arab, right? The evening kicked in, rest and was refreshed, right? And he gave unto Moses when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimonies, tables of stone, written with the finger of who? Wait a minute. It didn't say this is the law of Moses. It was written by who? Wait a minute. It was written by the Most High, not Moses. So anyone that says the Most High, if they say that the law was unbearable, no one can honor the law, then you're making the Most High writings, his own writings, into a lie. It didn't say Moses wrote this. It says the Most High written with the fingers of Elohim. The Most High wrote this. It wasn't Moses. This law was already in existence well before Moses came into play. But in this particular text, now the Most High is taking the covenant and transitioning it to who? The children of Israel. Going from Abraham now to Israel. That's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the ordination that's getting ready to take place, a ceremony of what? Giving the commandments to the Israelites. Come on, family. It's simple. It's not that complicated. All right. I'm not going to get into blowing out the trumpets because that's a whole, we'll save this. We'll do a series on this, but let me wrap up with a final thought because I'm going longer than what I want, but let me go to another area here. Let's see here. I want to deal with this one last section here. Let's see here. As you can see, this is a large presentation. This is how I do all my presentation whenever I teach. Normally I put together about 400 or 500 slides, even though I may teach out of 40 of them, 40 to 50 of them. But I like to have more than enough information than not enough information. Just in case I get asked certain questions, I can give the sources right then and there. All right. And we'll go into this next time, but let me just give you one key point here that I want to make. As you guys see, this is a large presentation. Let's go here to mandate. Let's go here to mandate. All right. Let's go here to mandate. All right. Mandate. Let's see what this word mandate means. And we're going to wrap this up. A command, a judicial or legal order. Then when we get down to further down into this definition, right? We see mandare, right? Not getting into all that, to order, commit one to one's charge. But here, literally, to give into one's hand. To give into one's hand. Mandate. To give into one's hand. Dare, right? To give, dare, to give. Manus, right? Hand. Manus, hand. Right? Man, hand. Dare. Right? Truth or dare, daring. Oh, wow. A challenge. But hand. Proto-Indo-European root, man. Hand. Dare. Man plus dare. Man, dare. Man, hand. To give. Proto-Indo-European root, do. So a command, a judicial order, legal order. So mandate means to give your life into the authority or the legal system to do what they command you to do. Let's go to Matthew chapter 15, verse 7 through 9. Let's see what the Most High say about mandate. Ye hypocrites. Let me say it again. Ye hypocrites. Let me say it again. Ye hypocrites. Let me show you. Let me play a definition of hypocritical behavior. Hypocrites. Let me play right now so you can hear hypocrites right now. Ye hypocrites. The Messiah will call everyone that's pushing this mandatory so-called mandate. He would call them hypocrites if they want to know exactly what the Messiah would say or do. Let's hear the hypocrites again.
I wouldn't demand to be mandatory, but I would do everything in my power. Just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role that the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
We cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't.
No, definitely not. You don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandating from the federal government to the general population. It would be unenforceable and not appropriate.
The Messiah called everyone in this video, according to this scripture, hypocrites. Ye hypocrites. Well, did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying, this people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. In other words, these people are nothing but all talk, lip service. Lip service. The Messiah would call every last person I played in the video hypocrites, including Stephen A. Smith. He would call Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Joy Reid, all of those guys, Jamel Hill. Everyone will call these pastors, Jamal Bryant, one of the biggest hypocrites. He'll call all of them hypocrites. Ye hypocrites. You all about lip service, no actions, all about lip service. That's all you want to do. You want to honor the Most High with your mouth, honor him with your lips, but your heart is far from him. That's why he said the renewed covenant is going to what? Take his laws, statutes, and commandments and write it into the heart. See, because many of them are comfortable for the words to be written in a book. So when they leave that room with that book sits at, guess what? The book, that the words are inside that room with that book, but it's not in their heart. That's what the Messiah was doing in Matthew chapter 5 with his disciples. He was making sure that the laws, the proper clarity of the Most High commandments was inside their hearts and not just written on some roll. Verse 9, but in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men, the mandates, the man dare. That's why they were daring the people to try to take a vaccine that wasn't even approved until August. And you were trying to make a big deal, Stephen A. Smith, saying that these men a year ago that they should be taking. Man, lose me with that. Let me bring my buddy up in here. Let me bring Lawrence up in here. All right. And we'll wrap up here. This is what I would call one of the great worshipers among our brothers and sisters. Man, I'm telling you, this brother right here, worship, man. He's a true worshiper. And I appreciate you. How you doing, man? How you doing, Ak? Can you hear me, Ak?
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
For some reason, I can't hear you on my phone. Hold on a second. Let me see. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, slightly. I can hear you a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay, man. Peace and blessings, Ak. I really appreciate you coming on the channel. You know, it's truly an honor to have you on, and you're doing great work for the Most High. Really teaching that even though we're awakened, doesn't mean that we have to throw away the very thing that the Most High called us to do, and that's worship him. And I'm sure that you see that among some of the people, some of the assemblies within our community, is that it's like they left Christianity, but they think that worship began with Christianity, and they've kind of thrown the importance of using worship to set the tone, set the atmosphere in their assemblies. So I really appreciate you being on the platform. You know, anytime you see me here, or if you want to do an exclusive, we just talk, you know, you have you have the opportunity at any time. But did you want to share anything with the people? What you got going on?
Well, I just want to say shalom, peace and blessing to all of you and the family and those that are striving to endure until the end. And Pastor Kelly, of course, I esteem you much for the work that you are doing. Of course, I remember first meeting you at Pastor Johnson's. It was a little bit informal, but I got a glimpse of your composure and things of that nature. So praise the Most High for the work that you've been also doing, and I definitely give you a lot of esteem for that, because I believe the Most High is working through you. And as far as everyone else in Israel, I mean, as far as what I got going on, just continue to do the work, being obedience to the voice of the Most High through His Word, through His Son, who's given us authority through the Ruach, or through the Holy Spirit. And so it's just me trying to do the work of the Most High, and be as obedient as I can.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Did you want to kind of express to the people the importance of worship? Because I think that because of all what we've gone through and making that transition out of Christianity, again, many people have thrown worship aside, because they believe that if you're worshiping, you're still falling in alignment with Christianity and so forth. Did you want to just stress to the people the importance of worship, especially in times like this?
I mean, worship is of utmost importance. It is, like you said earlier, the Most High, He inhabits the praise of Israel, His people. It is one way that me personally, because I never speak for others, but for me personally, even in Christianity, I was a very stiff-necked type, folding my hand, don't want to really show my emotions in front of people. And so just you seeing me do what I'm doing right now is a miracle in itself. And so that's why I go hard as I can. And I think the situation with praising the Most High, even in the Hebraic faith, I think most of us are traumatized. We look at things in hindsight, and we say, you know what, man, that reminds me of Christianity, because a lot of times we deal in the flesh and we can't get over that. So when you look at that, it's just trauma that we're dealing with. And I believe you said earlier, even with the difference in the lingo and things of that nature, that we're all just trying to figure this out. You see what I'm saying? So just like you said, I didn't keep the Shabbat, you were still going on Sunday. And little by little, you start to change. And the same thing happened with me. Little by little, I start to change and let that trauma go. And so you allow the Most High to work pretty much 100%, using you as a vessel for His glory. And when you allow that and the praise to come forward, it allows that connection to get a lot tighter. You being able to understand the Most High a lot more. You being able to appreciate His power. You being able to appreciate His Son and what He's done for you, because you've learned that the whole time the Most High was dealing with you in the past, but you just didn't know it. Scripture talks about bethinking yourself again. Once you bethink yourself again, now you realize the utmost importance of what it is to be an ambassador for the Most High. And for me, praise and worship is that bridge between Babylon, or between coming out of her to the Most High, because it allows me to be able to express myself with such thanks. So to see that the Most High, once I do this, whether it could be a sweet savor unto His nostrils, to see whether He likes it or whether He doesn't or not. So I believe praise is something very important. You must have that. I know you know Scripture very well with the singers. They had to go forward before the war, before they go to battle. So the singers was very important. So anytime you see we praising, it's basically we're battling it's a spiritual war, and then everything else can go forward after that.
Absolutely. You touched on something that's really powerful, because many don't understand that, for example, you leading worship, even in war, they have the musicians at the front because they're calling cadence. They're setting the pace for everyone else. And some of the people may have seen it, like in some of the movies, like the war movies, the older war movies. You'll see the drummers and the musicians at the front of the line leading the way, because they're actually setting the tone, setting the pace. So worship is very important, just like what you pointed out, to have that at the front of us marching into battle, and even coming out of Egypt. The worshipers were at the front. And even after they were delivered, what did they do? They worshiped.
They
You know
worship.
what I mean? They worship. They were not even in the promised land, but once they saw the Egyptians and they completely out, they worship. They
You
worship.
mean it is amazing because it's all about that sound. You said blowing of the trumpet. That sound that the Most High is looking for, and we sound that through our mouths. You say, "Cry out, spare not." And so you look at even the story of Jericho, man. He said, "Look, I need you to walk around this thing 7 times." The number 7 of completion. And so once you do that, we don't know the mind of the Most High is so amazing because we know low frequency, it moves, it shifts things. And that is why we as urban people, us as blacks, quote unquote, Israelites, we move to the sound of this low frequency, the bass. That's the first thing we do. We hear that bass and we want to move.
That's right.
And so when you walking around Jericho, that low frequency sound of just shifting things around, the Most High, he's a scientist. And then what he tell him to do? Yell, praise. And when they praised, everything came tumbling down. So we cannot speak against praising. We cannot speak against what's righteous, what Most High holds dear to himself, which connects him to us. And so I know a lot of people throw the baby with the bad water. With me personally, that's the one thing Christianity had right. They definitely knew how to worship and praise, although be it that it was not all in truth, but to do it in such a way when you understand what you're saying and when you understand what you're doing, man, it's ever more powerful.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nail, with especially throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Certain things I'm not going to say I'm tossing out because you were taught the importance of prayer. You were taught the importance of worship. And those things are still prevalent right now, that we should not throw away. And like you pointed out with worship, I mean, how can you throw it out? I just can't understand. How can you throw out worship? You know what I mean? David was a musician. He had a way of calming King Saul, just with his music. And man, anyway, I'll let you explain more of that because that is your area. And I know what lane to stay in on my behalf. Now I may not, be able to sing, I may not have your voice, but what people don't understand, you can still praise, you can still worship. Even though it may be a noise to other, but it's a joyful noise to the Most High. You know what I mean? It may want to cover your ears up.
Right.
But guess what? It's a sweet sound to the Most High.
Indeed. And because what it is, the Most High is looking at your heart. He's looking at what's coming out of that heart. Not everyone is blessed with a voice. Not everyone is blessed with such great intellectual teaching that you do. I'm not blessed with that. I keep it simple. But Most High has given me the ability to understand the things that you teach. So I definitely understand exactly what you're saying because, music in itself, and I think your daughter plays music, right? Because I've seen that you did a post and she's going to a very great school. And so hopefully I get to work with her because I'm trying to do the Exodus song, a song of Moses. And I think it's going to require some technical classical pieces to make it do what it is that the Most High showed me to do. But that's all said and done there. But it's just that it's very important. You gotta praise. I think a lot of times when people shun praising is because what they're doing is hardening their heart. And so really the Most High is trying to give us a heart of flesh. And whenever the moment comes where you are in the presence of the Most High and you feel the Ruach is moving, if something is keeping you away from doing that, then it's something wrong. Why do I say that? Because I, for one, have the experience and I understand fully, even as a testimony, that I used to do that. You're like, oh man, you just standing there and you're like, man, why are they doing? I used to be wondering, why are they running around the church like that? Why are they, what I'm saying, yelling? I used to say that in my soul, and you can see the same behavior in others. It's not you trying to assume anything because anybody could be going through anything, but you see that same pattern, and there's nothing new under the sun.
Absolutely. And you know what? You made me think about this. I don't know if you saw the animation I've been sharing with the kid being beat up by the garbage can.
Man, I've been
I'm gonna play it
enjoying
one
that.
more time. This was me, and I'm sure you can relate to it. This was me when I was so busy mocking and watching people in the church running around and jump up and down, shouting. This was me really. I was the one that was really getting beat up here.
There's a very important lesson in that video. I don't know if you observe one thing in that video. Every time, and I ken this to every time he put his hand on top of the garbage can, he succeeds.
Yeah.
And then he did it 3 times, and then he removes his hand. And every time he does it, the wind takes it and it's knocked him out. So it's the same thing with us Israelites.
That's
Same
right.
with us with Hebrews. We have to what? Stop doing the same thing over and over. That's insanity. We understand in Christianity the idea of worshiping idols. Our ancestors did the whole thing over and over. We keep doing the same thing over and over and over. So now with this awakening, the Most High is calling us to do something different, which was already set in the beginning. We have to cry back to him. We have to seek his face so he can heal our land. So this is what we need to do differently, so that at the end we can endure until the end. Don't we get that knockout punch that the little boy received? The 3rd time is a charm. He moved his hand and it knocked him out completely. So it's a lesson to be learned from that, because let's keep our hand what? On the plow.
That's right.
So if he had kept his hand on top, he would have succeeded, because he kept going. If you play it again, you'll see. Every time he moved his hand, the moment he moved it, it knocked him out.
And you know, that's what happened to me. I never forget. I was in the service and I was steady mocking people. Like, he go to Running Man. I had names for everyone. He go to Running Man. He give him a run. There you go. He running around the church. There you go. I had labels for everyone. And my wife kept telling me, one day I'm going to get knocked over by the Holy Spirit.
Oh.
And I'm not going to know what happened. I'm memorizing people patterns and everything. And guess what happened? All I know, I was waking up on the floor with people fanning me, untied my tie and everything, my shirt and everything. And I'm asking my wife what happened. She said, you just start dancing and you just fell out. You know what I mean? The very thing that I was mocking others, the Most High used that example, used me as an example of what he can. And it's not for me to mock anyone, what he can and what he will do. That from that lesson moving forward, I never question, because the Most High can move the way he chooses to move. If King Saul ripped up all his clothes when the Spirit came on him and started prophesying, who are we to judge how people are supposed to respond when the Holy Spirit come on them? As long as they're not doing crazy stuff, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Getting into some of the other stuff. But yeah, that was my knockout. When he knocked me out, from that point on, I changed my whole perspective.
And that's key. And that's why that video, although funny, although hilarious, it has such an important lesson that you have to keep your hands on the plow. So all praise to the Most High that he was able to reveal himself to you, that you may keep your hands on the plow. And it's very evident throughout the community that we can see that your hand is on the plow, because you're definitely an advocate, or you intercede on behalf of Israel for the things that goes on. And and I commend you for that. But I ask that the Most High continue to barak you in such a way where you keep your hand on that plow, brother. Just keep your hand on that plow. And that way, that, conclusion of that little boy doesn't happen to you. And so I say that to you, but I mean that to all Israel. Keep your hands on the plow. And that really is one of those situations where the scripture endure until the end really holds weight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I thank you, brother. And I want to make sure I get my information to you as well. I'm going to put it in the private chat here, so that way you can, have my phone number and everything, because I definitely want to connect with you. You're doing some great work, especially the work that you did with the whole, the Reclaiming the Throne.
Right.
And that was, I mean, you did an excellent job with the production, the singing, the music. I mean, top notch. Any projects you're working on that you want to share with the people, or things that you want to share with them on how to contact you, if there's anyone that haven't heard some of your heard your work, anything that you're working on, and also some ways that the people, if they want to reach out to you, they can contact you?
Yes, indeed. I do a lot of stuff behind the scene. Like for instance, I did the project humanitarian work in the Bahamas. Also, my family, they're Haitian. So right now we've been taking care of the people in Haiti in regards to the earthquake that happened there. So, Israel showed out a lot. I mean, I really appreciate Sister E and Only Love and all these different people for coming together in such a unifying fashion to donate money and being able to purchase things to help the people in Haiti. And also, we're going to be doing a even bigger project for Haiti. And then, we also did some project for Nigeria where we helped some of the village to buy land so that they can farm these land to be self-sustaining on their own. Because, a lot of times you have a lot of the Ashkenazi Jews that going over there trying to convert the people because our people, they need money.
That's
and so
right.
these $200, $300 are not sustaining when you send money. Yahusha said, you get this living water, you'll never thirst again. So the way the Most High has given me, I have a revolutionary mindset. So I like to make sure that the people can sustain themselves. So it's the same thing in Haiti. And man, you'll be the perfect person. I can definitely talk to you about this because you're talking about a long-term, earth-shaking type of revolution. Obviously, behind closed door, we'd have to talk about that, but it's very serious. And I think all of Israel can benefit just from this move. That's the seed that we've been planting for the last 15 years in Haiti. As far as the music goes, I don't advertise myself too much when it comes to the music, but because the Most High uses that as a platform for me to do other things. But I appreciate Israel for showing me so much love because for all that you see, the hand of the Most High is what's making all of that happen. I don't have to do much because the Ruach, the Spirit, is just moving. And so when you do these records, you allow the Most High to be engulfed in the music that you do. He's going to take it because at the end of the day, it's all for his glory. And I just follow his lead when it comes down to the music. But if you want to reach me, you can always go to sonofshemites.net. So that's www.sonofshemites.net. And you'll be able to listen to all 4 of the albums that I released. If you, Most High, put in your heart to donate for the Haiti cause, by means you could do that. I mean, don't put yourself in any situation by donating and things of that nature, but the Most High leads you in that way. You can do that also. So, man, praise the Most High for you and your platform. I really appreciate the invite.
And likewise, I thank you for accepting it. And I definitely want to talk more about that. And family, let's donate. Let's give. And one thing I believe that if you're going to, for example, sew clothing and things along that line, don't sew something that you won't wear. That's one of the things, that's a pet peeve of mine. Whenever I would do clothing drives, I would tell the people, give what you wear. Give what you wear. Give the things that you would wear. Don't give what you won't wear or things that you had sitting in the corner for years and now you just want to give it away because you have no use of it from that perspective. But let's make sure that we show true love for our brothers and sisters because we are the same people. And that's one of the, you probably noticed that's a pet peeve of mine, especially when we understand Savannah. And people already know I've been talking about this for years upon years about when we deal with Haiti. Many don't understand how instrumental our people that was sent to Haiti was for the Battle of Savannah. Many don't understand that. Those statues in front of this First African Baptist Church, those were kids. The French were using many of our brothers and sisters in Haiti as shields, during that war. But little did they know and expect that it was going to be our people that held it down while they ran, while the U.S. soldiers ran, the French ran, but we held it down and kept them from taking over Georgia. If they would have lost Savannah, if they would have lost Georgia, you would not have a Louisiana purchase. You would not have any other purchases of territory because Georgia would be Britain.
Absolutely. And you know what? You actually hitting on something, and I pray that the Most High leads you in that path. If people understand the history of Haiti and the significance of their history and what they've done, and how the Americas even exist for what it is right now, even France and all these different other European countries, if they understand what role Haiti played, I think people will have a new perspective about the people they call the least in the world, because Haiti and the people of Haiti has gotten a bad rap. Now, granted, there's a lot of idolatry. We get all of that, but that's nothing new. Israel was known for that anyway. So that's how you know they are our people. But at the same time, when you find out, and I believe the Most High is doing something with Haiti, with these particular people, and once he reveals everything, I think even us here in America will have a new appreciation for what the hand of the Most High can do.
And and we had someone when I was doing a lesson about Haiti sharing some of the just what you pointed out, the history and how how our brothers and sisters played a major role. Had it not been for them, where would the United States be right now? We had a lady come on right when I dropped the link inside the comment section. She shared some information that I didn't know, and about the true name of Haiti being Haiti.
Haiti, right?
And then she also shared that also the other name was Kiskia. And she was sharing how the last portion of it, you see Yah embedded within the name. Did you want to touch on that before we wrap up?
I don't know much about the second one, but I know Haiti is definitely, like, even when you go to the Nagan, I believe with the tribe that what's his name is from. What's his name? The brother in Africa. But you will find that Haiti is actually a Hebrew word. Now I can't really get into it because I can't remember. But if you really research it, Haiti is actually a Hebrew word, and then there's a lot of words that we use in Haiti, because Haiti, there's a lot of cultural significance in the way that they act. They still maintain some of a lot of those Hebrew customs. You see what I'm saying? So, like, for instance, we say new is we, but if you look at new, I believe that's one of those Hebrew preposition or some sort, like means we or us. Like you said, Elohim, like our Elohim. And so we still say new, which is we or ours. You see what I'm saying? So those are some of the things where you look at and you do a lot of studying as far as in the historical way of Haiti. You'll find out that they've kept a lot of the customs unbeknownst to themselves. They just don't know who they are.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to talk to you about that, because, again, for me, my desire is to make sure that we understand that we're the same people.
We are.
The difference between our brothers and sisters in Haiti, because like the sister shared, she said when you say Haiti, it's almost saying hate. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's kind of contributing to the negative approach that many people have. But the one thing that our brothers and sisters have to understand, the only difference between us and our brothers and sisters in Haiti and other places is just a stroke of a pen. We could have been sent to that island and they could be here.
Absolutely.
We could have been the ones that's at the borders trying to come into this country versus being in a position that we're in right now. So they that is us. We are the same people. It's just that we're in different locations, but we are the same people, and we should love and respect each other properly.
And it's the way to display how you would treat the Most High, how you treat each other. So I concur with that.
Well, I definitely appreciate you, my brother, and thank you again. I put my number inside the private chat. I'm not sure if you saw it there.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Okay, I'll leave it there for a second so that way you can write it down or save it, and let's talk, because I definitely want to connect with you. I'll talk to my daughter as well in terms of connecting with you with the from the music. But I definitely want to also talk to you more about some of the things that you're doing for Haiti. And I definitely want to jump in and help and do my part of bringing more awareness, and also, like you pointed out, generating resources for our brothers and sisters, and have a place of safety that they can go to, and find safety there. So I definitely want to talk to you more about that.
I appreciate that. And everyone, keep your eyes open. And, with the thing that just happened in Texas, sorry for the confusion there. The thing that had just happened in Texas, a lot of the people were moved out of there in such a rapid time to the point where it's concerning. So keep your ears and eyes open. If you know of any people that were migrated to your location, please let me know. Let the Only Love know, because we do have resources to help them out. A lot of them needs to go in different homes. So we do have the resources to be able to help them. Matter of fact, we're looking for a lot of them. That's just, we've been dealing with certain politicians and things of that nature to see exactly how we can find these people. A lot of them are playing sort of kind of dumb, but you know how it is. Nothing new under the sun. But keep your ears and eyes open. If you see anything that looks not out of the ordinary, you see some Haitians maybe that they've put in different places that, let us know so we can figure out what it is that we need to do to help them out.
Well, I appreciate you, my brother. And we'll, anytime you want to jump on, feel free. And family, will have the Honorable Judge Joe Brown here on this upcoming Thursday. We're going to have a great time. He'll be on the show Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Have your questions ready for him, and we'll be back online at that time. So I'm trying to get some of the people that we're familiar with. I'm gonna try to get Rizzo on here and some other people that we can have come on here and help us really start, like you pointed out, Lorvin, start really strategizing, really coming up with a strategy. In spite of our differences, we still should be able to come together and look at the bigger picture. So that's what we have going on. And thank you again. I appreciate you, my brother and family. We can conclude here, but we'll pick up this lesson probably next week. But as Moses said to the children of Israel, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today will not have power over you ever again. Will not have power over you ever again.
Hallelujah.
The Most High will fight for you, but you have to hold your peace. Remember that Hebrew word, karash. In other words, be quiet. Let the Most High do what he's going to do. Hold your peace. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Blessings.
Hallelujah.